the thing that I keep coming back to, the thing that just boggles my mind so much, is our inability as a society to imagine the consequences of our own actions. It looks like even if we do well from here on in, quote unquote, well, in addressing issues of climate change and the environment, we're still going to see massive displacements of tens of millions of people along the waterlines of every great major continent. It still looks like we are going to see lower Manhattan submerged in water, which may be karmically appropriate given all the economic abuse that's taken place in Wall Street and elsewhere in lower Manhattan, but is nonetheless a human and financial tragedy. We are still going to see a planet that is hotter, therefore a planet that leads to more war, more starvation, more thirst, more death, and a generation for a planet that is less habitable and more full of suffering for generations to come. And, you know, people just can't get excited about it. And in the middle of all this, we have politicians like Scott Walker, who John Nichols knows so well and understands so well, who remain motivated solely by their own greed and self-interest. This, to me, this was never a great thing, but it could be argued in the middle of the 20th century, for example, that, well, it's not so terrible. It's just what some people choose to do. It could be argued that the way the former presidents today, let's say former President Clinton and the former presidents Bush, the two of them are friendly. Well, you know, they've had a shared experience and so on, and the way that the collegiality of the Senate or whatever, I mean, it could be argued that all of that was legitimate political culture and leads to better collaboration between left and right. I get all of that. I understand all of that. I'm not even necessarily opposed to it. But when I hear that we're getting a new breed of super predator politician like Scott Walker, and there are others who fit that bill, and when I see how critical the problems facing us are and how we're not just hurting ourselves, but all generations to come, I just feel the time for false civility is over. Certainly we should remain nonviolent and peaceful, but we have a lot to fight for, and we should not be afraid to fight. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.